That's a good business as usual, right? So, we get started this morning with, we've been sharing how Jade was going to be speaking this morning, and I want to start just by asking her a few questions. And for those of you who are new, you don't even know who Jade is. Who are you? But we're glad she's back. If you've come in the last 6 months, you have not had a chance to meet Jade, but you know her mom, Jennifer, and you know Alyssa. And we're so thankful that Jade is back. She left in July on a very special mission. And the church was part of sending her on that mission. And because so many of you invested in what God was doing in her life, we wanted her to have an opportunity to share with you and for you to hear what God has been doing and where He's leading her next. So when you left Taiwan in July, I think it was July 4 or 5, right? Something like that. It was.
I went to Guam first.
Yeah, but we're not part of when you went. Yeah, it was July 4, I think. So where did you go?
I went to Kona, Hawaii, the Big Island.
And what were you there for?
We did
You were there with?
For Youth with a Mission, also known as YWAM. And I did a 6-month course called Discipleship Training School, also known as DTS for short. So yeah, the first 3 months was in Kona, Hawaii. So that was where I did my lecture phase. So every week we had a new theme for a lecture. It could be the humanity of Jesus, fear of the Lord, missions, kind of anything. Yeah, everything.
And during that time, we loved to see your posts. Those of you who are a part of that, and just seeing what God was doing in her life and what He was teaching her and how He was drawing you deeper into His heart. It was obvious. In fact, I think it was clear. What is it called? Pursuing Him? That's what she calls her Facebook page for those who are following and those who have been supporting. So during those first 3 months, it was more of a training time, education, and some God doing some work in your heart as well. Right?
Yeah, so there was a lot of inner healing during those 3 months. Just because since we're doing missions, we're pouring into other people, they really want to focus on just emptying ourselves, kind of just living that humility like Jesus. So we'd empty ourselves and then we'd get healing, just kind of let go of things that would hinder us from doing ministry really effectively. And also just getting to know God a lot better. That's kind of just the main reason too.
Okay. And preparing you then to send you out. Yes. So you had some options of where you would go. What were those options?
There's Philippines, South Africa, Wales, Myanmar, Nepal.
That's all right.
Yeah, there's 6
you didn't go there anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah.
So your options were, where did you want to go?
First was Philippines, and then I wanted to go to South Africa, and then my last choice was Nepal. But then I felt led to put Nepal as my first one. I don't know. I mean, I got chosen to go to Nepal, but I love going there. It was so cool.
So you got chosen and you got put on a team. How many of you went to Nepal?
We had the biggest team. We had 16 of us.
Okay.
Oh, there's no pictures.
Good. There's no picture?
My team now.
Oh, no picture of your team. All right, well, you can check her Facebook page. But anyway, so do you want these just to run, or do you want you're going to have them run at certain times?
Probably certain times.
Okay. All right, we'll do that then. So when you were in Nepal, where is Nepal?
Between China and India.
Okay, everybody knows where China is, right? Got an idea where India is? Well, and Nepal is known for its what?
Yeah, it's high mountains. That's where the Himalayas are. That's also where Mount Everest is.
Yeah, so the highest mountain in the world is there. Okay. So different altitude, quite a bit of, What did you do to prepare for that?
To prepare for the altitude,
Mm-hmm.
we did 3 CrossFit classes. It's kind of funny because we knew.
It's like saying you didn't prepare for the altitude.
So
right?
we knew we were trekking, but we expected to be one trip, like one trek, maybe 1 week max, at the very end of our time in Nepal, and then to finish it up. But we get there, we arrive in Nepal, and we meet our contact Noah. And we're just kind of like,
Noah.
yeah, his name was Noah. So he was just cracking jokes with us. No.
You didn't stay on there. It was full.
Yeah, but we're just cracking jokes, and he's like, "So you guys ready for your first trek?" We're like, yeah, for sure. He said, "No, like seriously, you guys are leaving in 6 days." And we're like, "Wait, what?" We didn't get any equipment. We didn't prepare like physically at all beforehand. So they're like, no, don't worry. You guys got CrossFit classes. That'll help you like prep.
3 CrossFit.
3 CrossFit classes. Didn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference, honestly. So that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you went on the 3 treks. And I think you've got some things to share with us about kind of what those treks were like and what the Lord taught you.
Yes.
So how about if I just give it to you?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you need me here at this point. I know when I'm not needed. And good morning, it's good to see you here.
Okay, so today would be a lot more casual like than we're sitting. Let me first find notes. Okay. So yeah, I just really wanted to share my time in Nepal and what God did there while I was there, and not only that, but also the things that I learned just throughout being there. And yeah, it was just really cool because I was there to pour into the nation, That was really cool because God really did pour into me. And I often really do think I received a lot more than I gave. And that really does show God's character again. He's a God of abundance. And yeah, He just really blessed me in so many ways. Really gained His heart for so many people there. But before I want to start, I just want to take time to thank you guys as a church and as my family for just supporting me that whole time being there, whether that being prayerfully or financially. What God wanted to do there, what God's plan and vision was for that time being would not have been done without you guys, for sure. And yeah, just thank you guys for being so willing to partner along with God in that. I was just really blessed to be able to see it firsthand, but without you guys, the things that we've seen could have not happened without you guys. So yeah, I'll just start, kind of give you guys a background. To Nepal, we were there for 2.5 months, and it consisted of kind of 4 main parts. It consisted of our first 2 treks, and then time down south at an orphanage, and then our time in the capital, Kathmandu, which was the main place we stayed at. I wish I had a lot more time to say all the stories, but because of time-wise, I can't really share some of my favorites. But if you guys want to see videos or pictures, feel free to ask me. I'll definitely show you guys. So yeah, next slide. So Long Tom. Oh, look at the children. This trek, like I said, we got there, and then within 6 days we were off. It was, I think, 10 days. It took us, I think, 7 hours on the bus ride, on the bus. Yeah, it was along cliffs, so you're like literally driving on cliffs throughout potholes, so you're like moving, and when you tip, you're just seeing straight down to the cliffs, and that's for 7 hours. So you have to get used to it.
Like your ears, Mom.
Oh yeah, sorry, Mom. Cool experience, cool stories. Story was worth it. But yeah, we were actually the first people from Wylam to touch that area, Longtong. We pioneered the trek. We were there just to kind of scout. Were there any Christians in those villages? Were there any churches? So yeah, we would trek for about anywhere from 4 to 7 hours, I think. Either up mountains or in valleys, kind of depends on the day, depends on how the tour guides are feeling. So yeah, there we were just able to pray, encourage a lot the people there. There were actually a lot of Christians, more than we thought, and more than we anticipated. So we prayed for a lot of them, encouraged a lot of the churches. I was also able to hand out little keychains to the children that were just kind of highlighted to me. I just felt like God said it was like a promise from Him to mark these children, and that He just kept reminding me this means a mark, and I'm gonna reveal myself to them as they get older. So it's so cool to partner along with God in that, just handing out simple little keychains. You can see the next picture. See, the children are so cute. Okay, I think there's, yeah, okay. So that little girl on the left, the little baby, we got to name her in the Himalayas. It was so cool. We prayed for the family, and the mom was like, actually, our daughter, we haven't given her a name yet. Can you guys name her? We're like, okay, cool. So we prayed about it. We kind of went between Ezra or Esther, and then we landed on Esther after praying about it. And then you see on the right a little cross that we gave the kids every time we trek, or even throughout the city in Kathmandu. We'll just kind of hand out little crosses, kind of pray over the kids too. So yeah. Next one. So Chitwan. Chitwan is down south. It's about a 4-hour van ride. We squeezed 20 people in a van. It was insane. Yeah, I slept on the floor in the van. It's not big. But yeah. We did slum ministry there. We stayed in an orphanage with the children. We also got to go to a village which was 3 or 4 hours from Chitwan. So you see some pictures that we also shared our testimonies in a small congregation. It was, I don't know how big it was, but it was like maybe like this. That was like the size of the church. Yeah, so I think there's more pictures. Yeah, so we planted a lot of gospel seeds. There are people who've never heard of Jesus in their lives. So we were able to share the gospel. We did a lot of evangelism. We saw so many healings. I'll tell you guys more stories later on, but there are so many healings. There are a lot of deliverances and strongholds broken. We would pray for these women, and a lady that me and my friend prayed for, Hannah, we prayed for her for about an hour, I think, and she was just weeping in our arms for an hour. She was like a mother of 4 or 5 daughters, because she had depression for like almost her whole life, I think. And so afterwards, it was so cool because she like looked up at us and was smiling with tears in her eyes. And then she told her daughters to translate, just saying how joyful she felt in such a long time. Like she felt like she was free from depression. So it was so cool to be a part of that. So my sister and I super cool. Yeah, the children are once again so cute. I love them. I spent time with them every single night after we got home from school. I have so many videos, I can show you guys later. But yeah, it was so, I just saw the importance of really investing in the younger generation. Because yeah, it was just so heartwarming to see like these children like look like they have nothing, you know. And to other people, they do have nothing. They live in like a little shack with like 20, 30 kids. They have to share clothes. They don't have a lot of like toys or anything, but like when you see them worship and pray to God with their hands in the air and just celebrating, it just, yeah, they have everything, you know, once they know Jesus. It was so heartwarming to see that. And I told them, I was like, I was crying when I left them because I really did love each of them so much. But I was just saying, like, it's so cool because I have the hope of seeing them again, you know, in heaven. That was super cool. Next one. So Gorka, that was the time. Kind of give you guys a backstory. Gorka is a region in the Himalayas. So this is our second trek. And so we were praying into Gorka, and half of our team felt really called to stay in Kathmandu, just because of the connections that they made. We saw so many cool things. We built so many relationships in our time being in the capital, Kathmandu. And so, yeah, a lot of them felt really, really called to stay. But then, maybe a couple other people felt really called to go to Gorka. So that was kind of a hard time for our team, just because we didn't think we could split the team up just for practical reasons. So, plus my outreach leaders, they just weren't sure about it because it's a big team, and just for safety reasons, they thought we couldn't split up. But we were just like, okay, we're gonna take this time to just pray to God, intercede, and see what He wants to do. So we go to the prayer room, and for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, we pray, and we put on a little slip of paper where we feel called to go. And we didn't really know numbers, how it would work out. We were kind of scared because in the beginning, only 4 people wanted to go trekking. Everyone hated trekking, but like me and like 3 other people. So we were kind of nervous about numbers. We were just like, I don't know if like enough people would even go. But then we just completely submitted our will to God with whatever He wanted to do. And we did it, and it just happened to be that our one outreach leader felt called to go, Dakota, to Gorka, and then I think 7 or 8 others felt called to go to Gorka, while the other 7, 8 felt called to stay in Kathmandu, which was just perfect. Like, we felt so much peace about splitting up. We felt like God really did place us as a big team on purpose for a reason, so we were actually able to cover way more ground at the same time. So it was really cool. And then funny story, kind of foreshadow of later on, but a little slip of paper came out of my notebook, and it was just like a prayer for my team back in Kona, which would be like 2 months prior. And my friend said, I see you guys in a monastery, and you guys are just interceding. And in the beginning, the monks were worshiping darkness, but because of you guys, they're worshiping light. At the time being, I was just like, it's like, there aren't really Buddhists here in Nepal. Everyone's Hindu. It's the main religion. And I was like, and you can see Buddhists here. We got to meet some, but that's only unless they're Tibetan refugees. So I was just like, I don't think this is going to happen, especially like monks in a monastery. So I just slipped it back in my notebook, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I just felt called to go to Gorka, and then it was about an 8 or 9 hour bus ride. It was probably the roughest one. It was so bad. We get there. It's a 2-day trek into a village called Jagat. So we settle in. We're kind of just prepping for the ministry there. We were going to partner along with the church there in Jagat. Just do more evangelism, more praying for people. And then my Irish leader pulls me aside. He's like, hey, keep this on the down low, but there's a monastery way further up in the mountains. He's like, and I'm praying about if we should go or not. And I was like, oh, I'm going. He's like, okay, let's just first pray about it. And I was like, no. I was like, no. Like, I told him the story, the slip of paper, my friend, like, praying about it for us. He's, oh, okay, cool. So he was like, sick. So we'll actually consider going, because it was pretty dangerous. So we prayed about it as a team, and even before he laid out the plan, we prayed about it first, if we should go or not. Just so, because of practical reasons, we wouldn't let that get in the way of how we felt about it. So we prayed, and in the end, 4 of us feel called to go, while the others stay, which is another big deal, because our Irish leader felt called to go, which means he's leaving the rest of the team behind, so we're splitting up again in the Himalayas. So, yeah, we're like, okay, let's do this. Like, how hard can this be? It's just further up, right? And then our guide lays out the plan. It was an insane plan. He says, okay, this is way harder than your first trek. This is nothing compared to your first trek. And to the monastery, which is called Sum Valley, it's supposed to be a 4-day trek up the mountain, like up the mountains, actually. He's like, but because of the time crunch, we got to squeeze into 2 days. So we got to pick up the speed. And so we're like, okay, cool. And he says, and when you get there, you can only be there for a day. Half a day tops. Then you got to come back down. So coming back down, 2 days, which takes 2 days, meet the team, 2 days back, and then another day of the bus ride. So we're just like, okay. He's like, okay, we leave 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, okay, cool. So we go to sleep, I'm tucking myself in, and I'm like, what am I doing? Because we didn't even prep for, keep in mind the elevation you're rapidly going, like you're going up at a rapid speed. So like the air is getting thinner, you can feel it getting thinner. And then we didn't really bring enough clothes to keep warm. So we're like, sorry Mom, I can see Mom's face. Like, but don't worry, God was worthy. God is so worthy of that yes. So we wake up, we're eating breakfast. We don't really know what to do with this stuff, so we're just kind of chuckling. We just kind of start cracking up because we're so nervous. We're like, what are we doing? So we go at like 5:30 a.m. That was definitely the hardest 2 days of my life. Actually, the whole trek was so difficult, but just getting to that point was just insane. Yeah, I'll first show you guys some pictures. That's the team that I went with. Further up, you can see there's snow-capped mountains, you're trekking along cliffs. That counted as a wide trail for us. Usually the trails were like twice as small. And yeah, that's my hours leader, Gage, Kate, super cool people. Yeah, it was gorgeous on the way up there. Yeah, so as you're trekking, you're definitely questioning what you're doing, as you're going, because that's the only thing you do. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no like movie that can drown out like what you're thinking. It's just you, your teammates, God, and like the trek. Yeah.
Can you tell everyone what trekking means? Because she's been saying it in Hawaii, and I didn't know what a trek meant.
Trekking means
which
hiking. Yeah, hiking. Sorry, guys. So you have our packs too, because you gotta carry your packs with your stuff in it, so your water bottle. Yeah, so super hard. There's no protein up there. There's no protein, so you're like relying on just like any calories you can get. Villages can be anywhere from like 2 to 4 hours away, and you can only drink filtered water unless you get amoebas and stuff. So you have to pace your water. Sometimes you have to share with your friends if you drink too fast, or if they drink too fast. So it's just like, it was really insane, honestly. And yeah, so as you're trekking, once again, you're like questioning, like, what am I doing here? Like, is this even worth it? We don't even know what's up there. We also pioneered this trek. We're like, we don't even know like what we're going to see. But then God just kept reminding me of some verses which I want to share with you guys today. That was kind of small. Philippians 3:13-14. Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it on my own. The one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Yeah, so God reminded me of that verse. You just keep thinking of that verse, like, God, I'm not regretting coming. I'm gonna keep going forward. I'm not gonna look behind me. And yeah, I just like that also encouraged. It became so literal in that sense of we have to keep going to get to that goal. But that just like can really correlate to our everyday lives, of like it can get so hard. But once you know the promise that God made in your life or the call that God made, you just don't look back. Like the only thing you should do is just keep going forward, So cheesy, but it became really literal when I was doing those.
Not cheesy, it's the word of God.
It's the word of God, you're right, sorry. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Yeah, I held on to this verse the whole trek. For when I am weak, he is strong. Oh, I am strong. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Yeah, it's just such a big promise that God makes to us. And through that trek, I was just able to see God's faithfulness and how true he is to his word. And yeah, like when you cry out to him, in Psalms they always say, like, when you cry out to God, he'll rescue you. You don't really believe it, but oh my goodness, I saw God help me and my teammates every single time we cried out to him. Like we weren't prepped for these treks. We were not prepped physically. The way we got up there was just insane. Like that was all God. I really don't know what we would have done without God, like honestly. So, yeah. And I'm so thankful that God placed me in those situations where I could only rely on Him. There was literally nothing else you could do. You're at the end of yourself. Your body's getting numb. You can barely pick up your steps, but that's when you completely rely on God for strength and your source, for strength, for energy. That's why I said I boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses. That just shows God who He is, And I'm so thankful that I was placed in that situation where I was able, at such a young age, to fully rely on Him for my source of strength. And the next thing I really did learn, I felt so near to Jesus at that time, just because I was reminded, we forget Jesus was human, and He had to trek and walk to places just to meet people for divine appointments, And I just felt so near to Him, because I was I'm really doing what Jesus did. Because as I'm walking, God's reminding me, how far would you go for the one? He's I went this far for you, I went this far for your family, for your friends. So just be reminded of that, wow, how far would I go for the one when Jesus did it for me? So I felt so near to God, to Jesus, knowing, I was just picturing Him right next to me trekking, being this is so lame. And Him being I know, but I did it for you too. Did it for you. And I was okay, cool, okay, right? So, yeah, I just felt so near to His heart. And just being able to put in perspective how Jesus felt, because remember, He was also human, fully human. He felt tired, He felt weary, He felt confused, so just being able to be put into His shoes and doing exactly what He did too was so, so cool. Next one. Okay. I don't have a picture of the monastery. These are some people at the monastery. We get up there, we sleep for a night, and then we go across the valley and then up to the monastery. It was actually an all-women's monastery, and it was really interesting. We actually got to stay at the Dalai Lama's assistant's mother's house. So that was super sick. She had a key to an ancient cave. We got to go into the cave and intercede there, just kind of break the chains of that religion. So it was so cool to be with the Dalai Lama's assistant's mom's house. It was so sick. But yeah, we get to the monastery. Unfortunately, I think the people were studying their book at the time, so we just went into the place where they would worship their gods, or the Dalai Lama. It was really cool because you could see where they're kneeling for hours and hours at a time. You could see the imprint in the places they would do it. So we interceded there for about an hour or two just because of the time crunch, because we wanted to do more ministry. But yeah, it was just so cool to bring God's light into that place. In 1 John, I forgot where it says. In John 1 something, it says the light enters and the darkness can't extinguish it. We just felt that power as we walked in. Now God's light's in here, and the darkness cannot extinguish it. And I know to most people, they're just oh, you didn't even get to see any conversions of monks or anything. But I've seen the power of intercession, and I do not underestimate it. So just being even being able to intercede there and do what God wants us to do there, I have full faith that God's already moving in that monastery. So super cool to do that. Here's a little kid that we met, super cute. A lady, they put that on their heads, and then they put rocks in a basket, and that's their job. So you climb up mountains so they can build stuff. Everything there in the mountains is by walking or mules. So yeah, so that was really cool. And the next one? Yeah. So after the monastery, we go to a lady's house. This lady's house was so isolated. There's nothing there. And actually, I think the snow-capped mountains, over that mountain is China. We're really close to China. So, and because of the Tibetan, a lot of Tibetan refugees are there because they got kicked out of China, I don't know how long ago, but pretty recent. And they can't get back in. So a lot of them settle in Nepal, or the outskirts of Nepal and the Himalayas, right over the borders. So, got to meet this lady. my outreach leader was just asking if we could pray for her, see if we get any visions or any words of encouragement for her. And I did. So I go up to her and I'm like, do you know the gospel? She's like, no. So I'm like, perfect. So I get to share the gospel. It's cool, plant that seed. And then I say the vision I got. And it was of a really beautiful butterfly. So beautiful colors. And then I see two hands just coming from under it and just kind of protecting it and just kind of following it. So I asked God, like, what does this mean? I told her, and I was like, in this world, like, people may say you're so small and insignificant, and you may feel so forgotten and, like, abandoned. But God saw you, and He looked at you and found you so beautiful, even though you're so small. And He still chose to, like, protect you and follow you wherever you go. And I said, you don't even know it because you're still just flying, you're still just kind of doing your thing. But you don't even know that He's been following you your whole life because He finds you so precious. And that's when I said, you're so seen and loved by the God who created everything. And that was kind of the theme of, like, all of Nepal, everywhere we went. Because they're isolated in these mountains. There's nothing there. The only way you can get to, like, civilization is by trekking for, like, a good couple of days and then go on a bus to, like, see people. So that was just a theme, like, for all of us. We just kept saying to people, like, you're seen and you're loved, you're cherished, you're not forgotten. Even to the Christians there, we're saying you're not forgotten. Like, God's love travels all the way to the mountains, the valleys and the mountains, the highs and lows, So when I told her that, she just kind of just looked at me, and her eyes just kind of, like, changed. And she was just saying, like, was probably thinking, like you're telling me that I'm seen and loved by God? And that's just what every person needs to hear, that they're seen and they're loved, they're important. So she didn't give her life to Christ at the spot or anything, but we gave her an SD card with a Bible on it, we gave her a tract, and I still have faith, and we'll see her in heaven, because God's faithful. So, yeah, I'll tell you guys some more really cool stories next photo. Oh, okay, I'll say the story later. But, yeah, while we were in Sum Valley, the team that stayed back in Jagat, they saw crazy healings. There was this lady who was on her deathbed in the village, and she had boils on her face. Her tongue was just all swollen with boils, and they prayed for her, my team, and they were just like, okay, like, God, be of faith. We'll come back tomorrow and see how she is. So they come back. They look for her on the bed, but she's not there. So they're like, oh my gosh, she's gone, that she died. And then the lady just does this, and they're like, who is this lady? And she's like, oh, I'm the lady you guys prayed for yesterday. She's like, look, I'm all better. No more boils, no more. Other crazy healings. This is kind of cool one, but this one coming up. Sorry, jump off. My outreach leader's leg grew in front of my face.
Outreach, say what that is. Your outreach.
My outreach leader, which was the leader who led my team to Nepal, his leg grew. So during lecture, a speaker was like, God heals, and we're like, yeah. She's like, no, like, God heals. We can see healing right now. So people whose legs are uneven, it's actually really common, whose legs aren't at the same length. We ask them to sit down, we pray for them, and most people close their eyes, but I want to see the real thing. So I was like, I literally see his leg, like, grow a couple inches out of his leg, and, like, out of his, this thing, and it evens out. And I was like, what the heck? That was a cool healing. Other healings, the team that was in Kathmandu, they went to the biggest Hindu temple in Nepal. So in the temples, there's always like a translator or a tour guide who gives them a tour about everything, the history. And they're like, can you help us find people to heal? Like, we want to heal people here in this temple. And he's like, I've heard of it, but, like, I don't believe it. And he's like, prove it. So they're like, okay, you translate, we'll prove it. And they're like, okay, cool. So he's actually, like, preaching the gospel in Nepali, and telling people that Jesus can heal. And they see healings. but they see healings like so many, like 5 or 6, like at that time. He takes them to a place where a lot of the sick people are, and we do healings. Like we just pray for people, which was super cool. And this was probably the highlight of a lot of of most people. So the guy, the smallest guy, his name is Daniel, and just so happened to be we were in Kathmandu that morning. We interceded for about 2 hours, just saying, God, we pray that the people of Nepal will worship their idols and realize that they're not real, that they're not alive, and that when they pray to these gods, like, they don't answer prayer. And we pray that as they realize this, they'll hear or dream or have visions of a man named Jesus. We just interceded for that for about a couple hours. Went out to do our ministry, kind of just, went out and about. I don't even think we did ministry that day. I think it was like our Sabbath or something. And so these 3 guys go into a cab to go shopping or something, and this guy is just like driving, he's grouchy, he's ranting, and then they're just like sitting, and then he's like, these festivals are all fake. I've dedicated my life to these gods and I feel nothing. Like, these gods aren't real. I've prayed to them for years and not a single prayer has been answered. He's like, and then today, like this morning, I keep hearing the name Jesus, like, ringing in my head. And they're like, oh my gosh, pray for this. But he didn't know that they were Christians. So they preach the gospel, pray for him. He starts crying and weeping, and then gives his life to Jesus on the spot. Which is so cool. They give him a Bible, they connect him to a local church, and we just kind of keep in touch how we do everything. So while we were in Gorga, they had a follow-up with him, and they're just like, how have you been? And he's like, my life has completely changed. He's like, I've never been so happy, so joyful in my life. I used to have to drink every night to go to bed, but because of Jesus, I realized that only he satisfies. He reads the Bible every single day, asking Jesus to give him wisdom. And the coolest thing was he's been healing people in his taxi. It's so cool. So, like, a father and son would go into his car. They were super sick. He'd say, take us to the hospital. He'd be driving, and he's just like, I have faith. Like, if I just say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus over and over again, they'll be healed. And on the spot, they're healed. Which was so cool. And just like, he didn't even know about healing. Like, he didn't even know that was a thing. He's been a Christian for like 2-3 weeks maybe, but he just had faith, like, if I say Jesus, he'll be healed. Which was so cool. Yeah, that's the sweet guy. His name was something else, but he asked us to rename him, so we call him Daniel. Okay, I think that's it. So, these are kind of the things I really learned, that really just impacted my life. I'll start from the bottom instead and leave that first one for the top, for the last one. But 1 John 4:19, we love because he first loved us. And being in a culture where there's just like such strong religions of like Buddhism, Hinduism, I just saw the drastic difference of how like our relationship with Jesus is so different from those religions. Like, they do works like day in, day night to please their gods, to gain love from their gods. But like, it's so opposite from us. Like, Jesus first loved us, and from that we love others. We do his work after we realize that he loves us. And that's so simple. It's just to love people. Isn't that so great? So that just changed like the way I saw ministry. For sure. Just seeing people realize like they're loved, even if I didn't see anything crazy in the moment, was so worth it in the end. Like, going through all those times, but just being able to let someone know that and give them a hug was so worth it. So worth the 2 days of trekking, so worth the 10 days of trekking. And second one is Jesus had to willingly surrender every single day. Therefore, you must also choose to surrender every day. Matthew 26:39, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. This changed my life in seeing this verse, because, like I said, we forget, Jesus is fully God, but also fully human, He redefined humanity when he came onto this earth. And, like, every single day he had to surrender his will to God. The same Father that we have, God. And because he did it, like, we just have to, too, That's like the least we can do for God. And Like there were definitely days that we didn't want to do ministry. You get drained, you get tired, but you're just reminded like Jesus surrendered his whole will to God every single day. Every single day. He got tired and weary, but he still surrendered. And the last one, a simple yes can change someone's eternity. This was spoken to my friend directly from God. It was so cool. But this line is so powerful. You don't know where your guest can lead. And there's eternities, like people's eternities at stake, at this point. And your yes can literally shift everything. Shift a whole eternity, someone's eternity. It shift your eternity. And yeah, it can be the simplest of yeses, like yes of just smiling at someone, yes of interceding. Don't ever underestimate the power of intercession, And yeah, I don't know. So it was cool because when I was telling someone this at dinner, they were just saying like the things that you saw just feel so common to you. Like you saw them every day. You're just saying them like it's whatever. I'm like, because like it can be common. It really can. Like the times that we would like have this stuff happen would simply be me sitting next to someone, just smiling, and then they kind of like say hi. It's like kind of shy at first, but then we just start conversation, leads to all that stuff, leads to like planting seeds and all that. So like, yeah, just remember that your simple yes can lead to something way bigger than you have planned. I just ask for a conclusion. I know like there's people say this all the time, but missions is really everywhere. And God is moving and he is alive in Nepal, but he's also moving in Taiwan just as well. The same God of the Kona prayer room, Kona Ohana court, Nepal prayer room, or just Nepal in general, same God here. Same God who has plans here, And just take the simplest of yeses, like a yes, So, as a response, so are you willing to say yes to God? And it can be anything. It doesn't even have to start with saying yes to talking to someone. It can even be starting with a yes for yourself. Because your yes can also change your eternity too. Like, yes, Jesus, I follow you. Yes, Jesus, I forgive this person who hurt me. It can be, it can just be anything, honestly. I've seen the value of the smallest thing. You don't even know where it can lead.